Hi, I'm Charlene McAuley and this is an embodied yoga practice designed to help you awaken and refresh your whole being with conscious rolling, spiraling and pulsing movements. Simply do what feels useful for you right now and see if you can become really curious about where you're applying too much effort in order to meet yourself in the present moment. Thank you for joining me and enjoy. So we're going to begin lying down. So just take a few moments to make yourself comfortable with your knees bending and your feet hip distance apart. Perhaps you want to lift up your toes, spread your toes and then take them down. Just take some time here, feeling your breath moving in and out. And then when you're ready, bring your arms a little bit higher and turn your palms down and start to bring your knees slightly side to side. Allow the weight to shift through your feet and then let your knees move over to the right side as far as is comfortable. Turn your head, look past your left shoulder. And then push down through your feet, bring your knees up. And as you breathe out, take your knees over to the left and look past your right shoulder. Let's do that one more time. Push down through your feet, bring your knees up. And then over to the right. Push down, bring your knees up. And over to the left. And then bringing your knees back to the center and interlacing your fingers under your head. And bringing your elbows towards your head there and holding your head a bit like how you would hold a baby. You really want to feel that the head is heavy and you're cradling your head with your arms and your hands. On your next exhale, begin to pick your head up, curling up, feeling the contact between your lower back and the floor. And then inhale, rolling down. As you breathe out, curling up. And then rolling down. We're going to do this 3 more times. And it looks like a sit-up, but it's more relaxed than a sit-up. We're just feeling into the abdominals slightly and releasing the lower back. And then when you move down, keep your right hand under your head, let your elbow come out to the side and bring your left knee up, taking your left hand under your left knee. And then breathing in. And as you breathe out, pick your head up and gently swerve towards your left knee. And then moving down, left knee travels forward a little. And then curling up. 2 more times. And then rolling down and switching sides. So just notice here if there is too much effort when you curl up, just see if it can be as relaxed as possible. Right knee traveling forward as you move down. And then gently swerving to the right. 2 more times. And then moving down. Release your arms. Just take a moment there. Feel the ground underneath your feet. And then begin to tuck your sit bones under and push down through your feet to gently lift your sit bones. And we're not going into a full bridge here, it's a small bridge. Just feeling into the backs of the legs. And maybe as you push your heels down, you can also feel into the bottom of your bum, the bottom of the glutes. And then start to roll down from your mid-back to your lower back and your sit bones. Bring one knee in and the other, bringing your hands underneath. And then let's start to rock up. And then rolling down. Rocking up and rolling down. Now as you do this, see if it's possible to keep the feet away from the floor. If you wish, you can do no hands. 2 more times. It's more fun, I think, to do it like this than to do sit-ups. And then rolling up. So this, me sitting like this, is really easy because I've been doing yoga for years, but sometimes it just doesn't feel nice to be sat on the ground and have the knees out. So feel free to get a cushion underneath you, and then your hips are going to be higher and it's going to free up the inside of the legs. So bring in your left hand down and reach up with your right arm. And it's if you want to touch the ceiling a little bit there. And then as you breathe out, lean over to the left. And then pushing back up. And then spiral to the left. Reaching up. And over. Coming up. And spiraling. 2 more times. One more time again. See if this can be effortless. And then bring both hands behind and take your feet in front. And you may find that it's better for you to have your hands turning out, or perhaps it feels more comfortable to have your hands, your fingers facing forward. Go with what works for you. And then begin to lift your chest, spread your collarbones. If you wish, you can push down through your heels, lift your hips. And push down through your heels to really lift up from the back of the body. And begin to rock backwards and forwards. Now your head maybe wants to drop back. Maybe you want to keep the chin in. Maybe you want to look to one side and then look to the other. Take one more breath. And then coming down. So we're going to bring the right leg now in front. And take your right hand down, reach up with your left arm. And then as you breathe out, lean to the right. And then coming up and spiral. Reaching up and over. Coming up and spiral. 2 more times. And just go with the momentum here. You'll find that if you can relax into it, the movement begins to just happen. And then take your hand down, bring your hands back, and let's once again lift the chest. Perhaps you'd like to stay here. Maybe you'd like to lift your hips and begin to rock backwards and forwards. Two more breaths. And then coming back, lower your hips and coming down. And then let's come on to all fours. So just take a moment there to look to your hands and spread your fingers so you can feel the contact with your fingertips, the rest of your fingers, the palm of your hands. And then you can feel this traveling into the shoulders and into the side ribs. Begin to lift your sit bones, lift your chest, then your head. And then start to tuck your sit bones under. Start to round and lower your head. So we're doing this sequentially. We lift the sit bones, lift the chest, lift the head, and then tuck the sit bones under and start to round and lower. One more time. And then from this position, bring your right knee in a little bit closer, just a little. And then taking your left toes forward. So your left toes are almost in line with the front of your right knee. Now take a moment there to feel into these anchor points of your hands, the base of your left toes, and also the base of your right toes. And then when you're ready, start to take your weight back. Allow your left heel to lower. And then reach forward. Pivot your toes out to the side. Keep your heel high and take your hips back. Reach forward. Turn your knee in. Slide your left foot back and push back through your left heel. And then again, left foot forward, heel parallel, reach back. Reach forward, turn the toes out, keep your left heel high and reach back. Reach forward, turn your knee in, slide your left foot back and reach back. Let's do that one more time. Toes forward, reach back. Turn your toes out, keep your heel high and reaching. Reach forward, knee in, slide your left foot back And begin to pulse now through your left heel. And it can be helpful here to bring your right hand to your pelvis and just to check that you're not dropping over to one side. And then bring your right hand down. When you're ready, turn your right heel in, your left heel in. And bring your left hand to your hip. Now you can stay here if this feels useful for you. If you wish, you can lift your left arm. And then start to make circles with your left arm. Just helping to mobilize the left shoulder. Reaching up and over. One more time. And then come back onto all fours. So we've been on the right hand now for some time. So we're going to slide the right arm underneath the left and come onto the right ear. You can always take a cushion under your right ear and lower. If you wish, you can bring your left hand to your lower back. And begin to feel your breath moving through your lower back. One more breath. And then bring your left hand down, push down, coming up. So now, lift your left hand a few centimeters away from the floor and lift your right knee a few centimeters from the floor and then down. And then switch. Right hand, left knee. Switch. And so now you're crawling on the spot. Two more rounds. Last one. And then bring your right toes forward. Just check that just behind the line of the left knee. And then take your hips back. Reach forward. Turn your toes out. Lift your heel high. Take your hips back. Reaching forward. Slide your right foot back. Push through your right heel. Bring your toes forward. Reach back. Forward. Turn your toes out and reach back. Forward. Push back through your heel. One more time. Toes parallel. Turn your toes out. Keep your heel high. Reach forward, slide back your right heel and take a few moments there to pulse through the right heel. Again, you can use now your left hand to check that the pelvis is level. And then turn your right heel in. I like to have the left toes tucking under. It gives me more support, but go with what is right for you. And you can bring your right hand to your hip, or you can reach your right arm up. And then as you breathe out, take your arm overhead, circling down. Reaching up. And over. Two more times. And then take your right hand down, come back onto all fours. Now take your left arm underneath your right, bringing your left ear towards the floor or onto your pillow. And taking your right hand, if it's comfortable, to your lower back. Take a few moments here to feel your breath moving through your body. One more breath. And then take your right hand down, push down, and coming on to all fours. So once again, lift your left knee a few centimeters off the ground, lift your right hand a few centimeters away from the ground, and then switch. And you can make this more quick, but if you are doing that, see if you can keep your hips low. You can keep the hands and the knees low. One more round. And then back onto all fours. Begin to rock that backwards and forwards. And there's a point where we naturally feel an urge to come into downward facing dog. So just play around with where in this rocking backwards and forwards would feel good to come into downward facing dog. And then once in downward facing dog, begin to move through your heels, bending one knee, bending the other, maybe moving your hips side to side and letting the head be free. And then lift both heels high and then begin to lower. Walking the feet towards the hands. And have your feet comfortably apart there. You've got a good base of support then. Let your hands be heavy, let your head be heavy. Bend the knees as much as feels comfortable. And then begin to roll up. As your head comes up, lift your left arm. As you lower your left arm, begin to lower your head and roll back down. Rolling up. As your head lifts, lift your right arm. As your arm lowers, lower your head, rolling down. Keep the knees soft here. Rolling up. Lift both arms. Just take a moment there. And then you can stay on your feet, with your feet flat, or perhaps you'd like to lift your heels there and then gently lean, I'm a bit wobbly, to the right side. And then coming up and slightly lean to the left. And then coming up, bring your heels down if they're lifted and begin to bend your knees for chair pose. As if you're sitting down on a chair, the arms are in front. And then cross your wrists and bring your wrists towards your navel. And gently draw your sit bones under there. As you inhale, opening out. As you start to breathe out, bring your wrists towards your navel. 2 more times. Perhaps noticing this connection between your wrists and your abdomen. Last one. And then begin to roll down. So the hands can come onto the shins here, or perhaps you'd like them on the floor. When you're ready, start to lengthen one leg, keeping the other knee bent. Maybe look forward, and then soften both knees. And then start to lengthen the other leg. Keep the other knee bent. And soften. And then lengthen both legs. Look forward. And then soften your knees and bow forward. Begin to roll up. So we're going to bring the right foot a little bit more into the center now. And bringing the left knee up. Now the left foot is going to turn in just a little so the left knee can come out. And bring your arms out to the side. Bending the elbows a little bit there. And then when you're ready, you're going to spiral your right elbow towards your left knee. Now if the balance is, you're just not feeling this balance today, you can always bring your left foot down and spiral. One more time. And then forward. Reach your arms in front and start to take your left foot back into a high lunge. Now just notice here whether you want to be in a high lunge or whether you'd prefer to be in a low lunge. Go with where's useful. Now wherever you are, begin to reach up with your arms. Maybe you're rocking a bit backwards and forwards. And then as you breathe in, start to reach up with your left arm that little bit higher, as if you're trying to grab something in front of you. And then back down. Now your right arm. And left. And right. One more round. And then reach with both arms. If you're in a high lunge, start to lengthen your front leg. Reach, reach, reach up. And then bend your front knee. Take your arms forward. And you're going to turn your left foot in and come into. It's like a warrior 2, but the knee is straight at the moment. Coming onto your right heel there and lift your arms. Catch hold of your right wrist and begin to slide your hips to the right. And then slide your hips to the left. And this slight movement, it can seem very, very small. But what it's doing is helping to hydrate and mobilize the lower portion of the hip flexors, especially the psoas. And then as you get used to it, maybe you can let your arms go to the same side that you're sliding your hips towards. And then arrive in the middle, let your arms come down and take your right foot down, bend your right knee. Bring your arms out to the side for warrior 2. And then look into your right hand. Begin to turn your right palm up and then bring your elbows in. And look to the side and then lean over to the left. And then back up and lean over to the right. Trying to keep your elbows close to your ribs, not necessarily touching. And then back up. And push your arms out and gaze past your right fingertips. And again, turn your palms up and bring your elbows in. Keep breathing. Over to the left, up and over to the right, and then up. Reach your arms out and just take a few moments there. You can stay still, or perhaps you'd like a little bit of pulsing in the right leg. And then begin to lower your right arm. Let your left arm come up, just slightly in front. Start to roll down. And now turning over to the left side. Bring your right foot forward. Soften your knees and begin to roll up. And now bring in your right knee up. Turn your right foot in and arms out, and then begin to spiral to the right side again. You can have your foot on the floor. One more time. And as you spiral, bend the standing knee there. And forward. Reach your arms in front, step your right foot back. If you did the low lunge on the other side, do the low lunge now. And then reach up with your arms. And then start to reach up with your right arm and down. Your left arm and down. A few more times. Last one. And then arms come in front, turn your right heel in and come up. So just to know about warrior, this warrior 2 positioning, do allow your right hip to turn slightly in there. And then this allows in a bit for your knee to bend and just keep forward, pointing forward. So lift in your arms, come onto your left heel and take hold of your left wrist and begin to slide your hips. Notice, how is it on this side? Does it feel more accessible? Or does it feel a bit more sticky? Or is it quite neutral? One more time. And then release your arms. Take your left foot flat, maybe spread your toes and bring your left knee now into a bit of a bend. Bringing your arms out in front. Turn your palms up and bend your elbows. Lean over to the right, to the center, to the left, and up. Slide your arms out for warrior 2. Let's do that one more time. Turn your palms up, look to the palms of your hands. Bend your elbows, and then lean to the right, and up, And then lean to the left and up. And then reach your arms out for warrior two. Again, notice, is there anywhere you can let go of too much effort? And then begin to let your left arm drop. Right arm goes slightly in front and over, and begin to circle down. And then bending your knees here, feet ever so slightly turning out. Begin to roll up, knees bending. Now this next little sequence we'll do, it's an offering, a receiving, and also a letting go. So begin to reach up with your arms, sit bones slightly tucking under there. And as you breathe out, bring your palms together and your thumbs towards your heart. Take an inhale. Exhale, push your arms in front. Inhale, reach up with your arms. So you're offering. And then exhale, receiving. Breathing in. And then pushing away as you breathe out. Take one more breath here. And then lower your arms. Start to turn your left foot around. Take your right foot out. Bring your hands down. And step back into downward facing dog. So just bending through the knees. Maybe child's pose would feel really good right now. Come into it. Or perhaps you'd like to bring yourself into a high plank. Spread your fingers there. And when you're ready, begin to lower down, take your knees down. Coming into a low cobra. And then back into downward facing dog. And then we'll do that one more time, either staying in child's pose or coming into it. Staying in downward dog. Or coming into a high plank. You can lower the knees if you wish, if that gives you more support. And lower down. And then low cobra. And back into downward facing dog. And now take your left foot in between your hands. Help it along. If it lands somewhere in the middle, help it along. And take your right knee down. As you breathe in, reach up with your arms. And then slightly lunge forward. And allow for there to be this generous space between your lower abdomen and your hip and your thigh. As you breathe in, bend your elbows, looking up. And then take your hands down. Come back into downward facing dog. And then bring your right foot in between your hands. Bring your knee down. Reaching up. And then slightly lunge. Abdomen providing a lot of support here. Bending the elbows. And then hands down. And let's come onto all fours. Take the hips back. into child's pose. And then begin to slide forward onto your front. And bringing the forearms out in front here. And the elbows are just wide of your shoulders. And spreading your hands. Now begin to draw your pubis down towards the mat. So you can feel full connection between the creases of your hips and the ground beneath. Now keeping the glutes and the legs active, begin to lift your chest. And this feels as if the shoulder blades are moving down the mat, down the back. And then look past your left shoulder. Perhaps notice what happens in the front of the right hip as you're looking past your left shoulder. Look forward. And then look past your right shoulder. And then look forward. And lower down. Bring one hand on top of the other. Bring your forehead onto your hands, bend your knees. And let your feet move side to side. Perhaps you can feel your thigh bone rolling in your hip socket as you move your legs side to side. When you're ready, take your legs down. Come to roll onto your back. Bring one knee in and the other. And each hand comes around the knee, bringing the knees apart. Take generous breaths into your lower abdomen, into your lower back. And in your own time, start to outstretch your legs. Let your arms move slightly away, palms turning up. As we come into shavasana, and at this point, the practice will come to an end and you can stay here for as long as it's nourishing for you, as long as you need to absorb the practice and to simply be here.